First of all, Jim, if I can take the lead here today. Now, you and Moira are on next week, right, and you're focusing on Uganda. The week after that, I'm going to be hosting for a week, and I'm going to have some very special children's television producers on with me throughout the week and kind of do a children's week. Grandma and Grandpa have the kids maybe. This will be a great week to watch Huntley Street week after next. But Jim, you had a very unique experience, as I remember. The First Lady of Honduras invited you to come, heard what you were doing in Africa, like this book here, When God Stood Up, A Christian Response to AIDS in Africa. And this is one of Jim's books. The other one here, by the way, that just keeps selling, published originally by Macmillan here, Theology for Non-Theologians, Jim Cantelon's, some of his writings. But Jim, the First Lady asked you, look, we don't want Honduras to descend into the level of, with the AIDS, HIV pandemic that African countries have gone to. What can we do now in order to, but first of all, CNN, let's go to the news of the coup. And
there's a lot of unrest there right now, yes. David. President Zelaya was basically deposed, taken out of the country in his pajamas, of all things. Because he was going to be holding a referendum this Sunday.
But he spoke at the United Nations, got the full support of the UN.
Yeah, and he wasn't in his pajamas.
and the American Organization of American States have come to back him up, demanded he be returned to democracy.
The World Bank has frozen financial support. Most of the Central American countries are pulling their diplomats. And he's saying he's going to come back on Saturday. The current president, Visionledd, is saying as soon as he sets foot on soil, we're going to arrest him. But it's a very, very difficult situation. You see a number of soldiers, you see a number of very angry people. It's a very impoverished country, and so the poverty heightens all of these tensions. But it's a situation that really needs our prayer, and that's true. Zelaya's wife asked me a few years ago to come down and help her develop a strategy for mitigating the HIV/AIDS. It's not a pandemic in Honduras, but it's really beginning to take effect. And so I was down there a couple of times and just sort of gave her some input as to what we learned in Africa, and they've actually put these suggestions into
your recommendations.
Yeah, they have, and so now they're teaching children in grade 1 about HIV, which I strongly recommended, among other things.
You know, I saw you interview on your television show Eye to Eye Stephen Lewis, of course, who is kind of the United Nations point man for combating HIV/AIDS, and you and Stephen had a chemistry that was just phenomenal.
Yeah, well, common experiences.
A Christian response to AIDS in Africa. Jim, I'd like to actually go to a clip right now from Malawi, I think, where you are actually speaking to a pastor's conference, trying to mobilize the church to be the hospice for every community.
Will always draw you back to Jesus Christ. A true prophet. A true prophet will always minister with arms of love, not a fist of hatred.
We had about 600 pastors there at that pastors' conference in Malawi, and what we do there is we basically cast vision for pastors and their wives and their leaders to make a difference.
That's Kathy, your
wife.
That's
my wife, Kathy. We're looking at some of the income-generating activities we've developed, including raising pigs, by the way, for widows who are absolutely destitute. And it's amazing to see what happens when they get engaged in some of these income-generating activities. Now, listen to this, David.
Scripture refers to the fulfillment of the relationship with God, it is translated righteousness. And when it refers to the fulfillment of relationship with neighbor, it's translated justice. Righteousness, justice.
So the church in Zambia, thousands of churches were kind of drawing their their robes around them and going by on the other side, like you know, the priest and the Levite in the story Jesus told of the Good Samaritan. And your challenge to the churches was roll up your sleeves, get involved.
Yeah.